Hello and Assalamualaikum and greeting to my lecturer Miss Fauzia binti Muhammad Yunus. My name is Nur Azza Anis binti Rosli and I am from KBA 242 3C. Today, I'll be presenting on the topic 3 of the International Monetary System. So, let's get started. What is being meant by the International Monetary System? Okay, let me explain to you. The International Monetary System is an integrated set flow of money that is related to the government institution where it determines the amount of money, the way to support the currency requirements, and the basis for the currency exchange within and across the countries. The another name for the International Monetary System is the exchange rate system, where we are commonly used to hear it. The financial environment's operating system include the financial institutions, international enterprises, and the investor. Why this international monetary system being established? It was to promote a high global growth and to maintain a stable price levels. Back then, the scope was very limited to exchange rate only. But then, nowadays, the scope it has been expanded. Basically, there are 5 stages in the international monetary system. Firstly was the bimetallism, followed by the gold standards, interwar period, Bretton Woods, and lastly is the flexible exchange rate system that I will be explaining. Firstly, for the bimetallism system, it is where instead of using one metal, this system it uses two metal, which is the gold and the silver, that are being used. By the legislation, the monetary unit of the country is defined in terms of the predetermined quantity of gold and the silver. Bimetallism, it is being different where it allows both the silver and the gold are the legal in the unlimited amount. A unit of money is backed by the predetermined ratio of gold or the silver. And this system is also created a free and open market for the two metal which I said earlier, which is the gold and the silver, with no restriction on the use or the coinage, and it made all the other money in the circulation payable in terms of gold or silver. Basically, the only gold is legal tender under the gold standard, and the gold or the silver price ratio is basically free to fluctuate. During the bimetallism system, the latter monetary system was being formed by the several countries because they want to create a mere ratio for the two metal, gold and silver, as well as the usage of the same standard units and coins. But the use of bimetallic was being discussed at the International Monetary Conference in Paris, where most of the country they want to use the gold standard than the bimetallism system. But there was also a few arguments where people said that bimetallism they have a stability in price, and the usage of the combination between these two metals can increase the monetary reserve for a country. Moving on to the next one, which is the gold standard, where it being used during the 1817 until 1914, where the gold standard was used and the government's currency is fixed and they can freely convert it into a gold under this freely competitive monetary system. Gold it become the primary medium of exchange in this system in a freely competitive monetary system. For a country that followed the gold standard, they establish a fixed gold price where they can also sell and buy gold at that price. So the value of the currency is basically determined by the fixed price. The monetary system is based on the commodities that are being used rather than unbacked fiat money or money that is only useful because the government forces the people to use it. But most of the country they have a legal minimum gold 2 notes or currency issue ratio or the other comparable restrictions. Because of the intrinsic quality, most proponents of the commodity money, they choose gold as a medium of exchange. Interwar period, it happened during the 1915 until 1944, where because of the World War I, the gold standard was being destroyed. The system destroyed not because of the internal factor, but because of the external violence that happened on that time. When the fighting happened in Europe, activities like financial transaction, it will be suspended, where it is not allowed to do. Not only that, the export of the gold was also being suspended. When the international relationship between the countries started to disappear, every country, they decided to issue a bond to pay for the war. And every country, they tend to have a different inflation rates. But what happened in this interwar period is when the World War I ended, most of the country, they decided to recover back the gold standard because they believe that it can offer a price stability in the exchange rate. And because of that, international conference was being held. For example, that I can give is country like the United States, they decided to return to the gold early, and the gold standard was being recovered back, although in the end it failed. So why they failed? It is because of the common occurrence that happened with the recessions and the banking crisis. No one want to solve the problem, especially the government. They do not put the priority to solve the problem. Not only that, the leadership was also one of the problem. For example, like the leader of the United Kingdom, he lost his power and does not have the capability to solve the problem. Next is the Bretton Woods system, where the US dollar was tied to the value of gold and the other currency were fixed to the value of the US dollar. In the middle of 1940s, a collective worldwide currency exchange mechanism was being established by the Bretton Woods Agreement and system. And also, due to the Bretton Woods Agreement that is being held, the International Monetary Funds, IMF, and the World Bank were being established. From the Bretton Woods Conference to create the clearing union, a powerful worldwide central bank, and to issue the banker, which is a new international reserve currency. With this Bretton Woods system, all countries, they managed to witness a rapid growth, price stability, and a shift toward a free and the economy. However, the Bretton Woods system, it does not last longer than it expected, where it collapsed in the 1970s. The last one is the flexible exchange rate system. It is where the foreign exchange market, it will determine the country's currency based on the supply and the demand of the other currency. It was accepted in the international monetary system, and the central bank, it can be involved. The gold was officially being bonded in this system. The long-term currency price in floating exchange rate system, it will reflect the relative economic strengths and the interest rate differential across the country. With this flexible exchange rate system, the central banks no longer need to retain the international reserve, and it can help to destroy any barrier to trade and the movement of the capital. Now, I'll be showing on the example of the country with the exchange rate system. The example of the country that I found is Denmark, where they use the fixed exchange rate system. And the exchange rate that they use is basically the Danish krone. Basically, the one that is responsible in the exchange rates of Denmark, is the National Bank of the Denmark, where they are responsible in making sure of the monetary policy of the Denmark. Denmark, they use this fixed exchange rate system that is relation to the euro, and they also known as the member of the European exchange rate system. Basically, this exchange rate system is most stable and widely recognized currency such as the euro or the US dollar. There are few countries that can form an informal currency union in which they share a same currency. Individual countries, they issue their own coins, banknotes, which are tied to the national currency at par value, and hence it exchangeable. Malaysia is the example of the country that use the floating exchange rate system. The reason why Malaysia use this system is because they want to adapt in the changing worldwide economy and the financial conditions. And this system is also it can make sure that the exchange rate are more stable with the important trading partner. The current exchange rate that is being used by the Malaysia is the Ringgit Malaysia, where the ringgit basically continue to operate under the flexible exchange rate system, where the value of ringgit it basically be determined by the ringgit. But the volatility is not eliminated by a fixed exchange rate system. It's just shift the volatility. Not only Malaysia, Japan also the example of the country that use the floating exchange rate system ever since 1973. And the economy of Japan have been fluctuated dramatically ever since they use this system. Under this floating exchange rate system, the central bank, they are responsible in charge of the monetary policy that is based on the native economics and the price condition independently. The exchange rate that is being used by the Japan is yen, and Japan also experienced a constant international cash flow, where they have increased the exports of goods in yen. That is later it leads to their economy to grow rapidly up until today that we can see, where Japan's economy was pretty amazing. Qatar used pitch exchange rate system, where they set their exchange rate Qatar Riyal value against the US dollar. So, this patch exchange rate system is basically where the country is patched to another currency, usually the US dollar or the euro. This exchange rate system goal is they want to maintain the value of the local currency stable by keeping it at a fixed rate to avoid the exchange rate volatility. For every country, they may decide whether they want to find a way to stabilize their exchange rate through the pitch exchange rate to avoid of the excess. Back then, Japan used the Bretton Woods system, where there was one of the country that involved in the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement. But Japan has been shifting to using the floating exchange rate system that I have said earlier, and they experience a massive growth in their economy. What I can conclude from this international monetary system that started from the bimetallism until the flexible exchange rate system is where it become a process from the success to failure that lead into the incorporated into the next stages that it's better than before. International monetary system it enable an exchange in the international economy because most of the country have the national currency that is not accepted as payment beyond of the border. So, if the system can operate well, international trade and investment it can happen. If not, then it might stunt it. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening to my video presentation. Thank you. Have a nice day.